it's about time to do a rant about this show. I already did it before, but they dropped a new trailer, and I'm doing the rant because I really fell in love with this show in season 1, and then they screwed me over, or myself and my brother, in season 2.
Damn!
And we're gonna have maybe a short or long discussion, hopefully not too long, but just to express my dismay about the show. I'm not gonna watch the show, so one could argue, why you recording this video? Why not? Yeah. If they can keep making more seasons for this show, then I can keep making videos about why I don't like the show. Yes. It's a win-win. Don't get me wrong, the first season was epic. It reminded my brother and I of, is it Wayward Pines? I think it's called Wayward Pines. And even that show too was cool, but it dropped off somewhere. I think the reveal with these shows is where you're like, it better pay off, otherwise what's the point? Now with this show, when the first set of creatures were revealed, the mystery and everything is cool, right? But because of, I don't know if it's something that we all do as human beings, or if it's because I'm neurospicy and my brain is just firing at an omega level speed. Like, where is this show going? What's the point of this show? Before I even begin with Pennywise, for example, even the Pennywise you could say comes from the guy I keep confusing his name with Steven Spielberg.
You serious?
The other guy, the horror dude. We know his story, Pennywise, comes from his lore and his world. And even with him, I find that world or the lore he's created very, very fascinating. Very, very, very fascinating. But at least we know Pennywise's premise. I'm going to scare the crap out of you so I can season your meat so you're more easy to digest or sweeter to chew. Whatever the reason, it's a very simple set of actions I need to partake in. And not always all the time either. So the lore is already set in foundation, saying this is why this guy does what he does, and he has, I almost want to say unlimited powers, but I feel it's limited because of the construct he's under, meaning the third dimension, because apparently he's a fourth or fifth dimensional entity that was thrusted here or sent here or banished here on Earth in the third dimensional plane. And how he navigates that reality, I feel it's its own hell for him, but yet he still gets it. There's something there that I find fascinating with Pennywise. Now, this is one entity that can attack multiple people simultaneously. Not only can he do that telepathically, but he can do it physically as well as telepathically at the same time to different people at different spaces, different locations in the town or village of vicinity. That's a powerful creature, and just sitting down and visualizing what that looks like and what that entails is already something that I feel you can pull off well on TV, especially once you know the foundation. This thing loves to tease you, scare you, daymares, nightmares, jump scares, isolate you. So the more you're separate from your people or your clique or your crew, the easier you are to manipulate and to bend to your will. Then I can feed on you, and it works. It works as a thing or a pattern or a habit or a function. What word am I looking for? This is what I do to get the end result that I'm looking for. It works. Now with From, comparing it to shows like Wayward Pines or this really good show or cartoon, I guess, depends how you want to call it, Gravity Falls. Now that one is filled with lore, backstory, proper healthy storytelling, little twists and turns here, mystery, and everything coming together full circle. This show, From, if you're not asking a number of questions mid-season 1, then you're one of those people who's just here for the ride, who's just here for the shock horror and the surprise twist and not so surprising twist anymore. I'm one of those people who ask the question mid-season, where is this going? Because if you say it's an alternate dimension, it's a Twilight Zone thing, then you're gonna make sure it's a standalone story, one and done.
That's right.
The mind will wonder eventually, where is this going and what's the point? We know Pennywise loves to season his meat of flesh he's about to eat with fear. So when Pennywise does something, the brain reminds itself, we know why he's doing this, because his end game is to season the meat with fear so he can eat it.
Damn!
It's more delicious that way. It's tastier. Whether it's a child, teenager, adult, or old person, I don't care. It's food. That one makes sense. So anything that happens out of the ordinary in Derry or whatever town that Pennywise finds himself in or itself in, we know it's about to go down because we know what Pennywise is set to do, and there's always something new with how he presents himself. Now you could say that gets boring after a while. He shows up as a cat, dog, snake, three-eyed eagle, four-eyed snake, I don't know, 9,000 fingered hand. He can construct anything in your realm of understanding and outside of your realm of understanding or comprehension. So there's room to play with that. So he can show up as anything that we know of and don't know of, our worst nightmare, or he can create a new nightmare for a person. And that becomes then, that becomes the thing that they're more afraid of than the thing they were afraid of before. So you can argue that can get a little sour after a while, but at least we know why Pennywise is doing what he's doing and what the end game is. With this show From, dude, what do you want?
That's a good question. What do you want? What do you want?
It's not that simple.
What do you want?
You've made this situation where a town is in a loop and people end up coming here every time. And can you find this place where From is based in the helicopter? Does it always have to be on road? Can someone drive a tank and ballistic missiles and fighter jets into that area and just lay waste to that land? Can someone do that? Or can you bring guns and grenades and just blow up anything? Like, what are the rules? And then my brain starts to think, okay, now let's go outside. Since you want to show some weird out of this world stuff, okay, then who and what are you? Are you alien? Are you spirit? Are you a combination of demons and fallen angels and all kinds of jinn, and everything combined? If that's the case, cool. You're a mixture of all these different dark things, or this is where your worst nightmares come from. The boogeyman and all the myths and legends, it comes from this land. Cool. Who the fuck made y'all?
Wait a minute.
Who made you guys, and then why? Because this is where my mind goes with this show. It's not grounded enough for me compared to Pennywise's It, or compared to Gravity Falls, or Wayward Pines. At least Wayward Pines, the first season was really good. What they did towards the end, and I think in the second season, was poor. Yeah. Dark Matter is nothing to do with anything horror, but at least that storytelling was solid storytelling. Even The Last of Us, simple again, no spirits, no ghosts, but still solid storytelling. With this one, 4 seasons in, they're about to launch the 4th season in April. We're going to bitch about the trailer, and I've already watched the trailer. Certain dialogue that rubbed me the wrong way, so I thought, you know what, let me just make a rant video about this thing.
Wow, you are mean.
So without further ado, let's begin. Show me. Like even now with the crows, and then what? First was the cicadas, now it's crows. What's it going to be next time? Butterflies now? Or something as beautiful as butterflies is going to become a nightmare. Like what? It's like this town or this experiment, alien, whatever it is just conjuring up new things. After a while, it's like, you guys are. This is like celestial bullying, but like bad, evil spirit bullying. You're just bullying people, but you need them.
That's right.
Otherwise, you wouldn't go through all this trouble to keep it secluded, put it in a loop, and do special things to trees where you can jump into a tree and teleport to another place. You jump into a tree and teleport to another place. You're doing too much, son. Too much. You are doing the most out here, bruh. Calm it down. Slow it down.
Something's different.
I am changing.
I don't know if I like who I'm becoming.
He is, well, he's kept this show together for a while, and I was talking to my brother about it today as well. Like, dude, as much as they've killed off certain characters, how about the Chinese guy? His deputy sheriff guy. How about him? How about the lady in the other faction house, whatever it's called? How come they haven't taken her out? How about his son? His son hasn't been killed. So you bring in new people and you kill them, and people who we're watching. Let's say this is a real thing. We're being told a story about these particular groups of people that have already been connected to others who came in new. So it's a particular bubble. But before this bubble, there were other people that existed here as well many years ago. So with the creatures that come out at night, oh, I should have said this ahead of time. Spoilers, by the way, for those of you who haven't seen anything with From, spoilers. So if you're interested in watching the show, please dip out. I don't want to spoil it for you.
You serious?
Yes.
The monsters we've seen at nighttime, we can tell that they've been here for a while because of the clothes they're wearing. Or I could be wrong. Maybe this entity that has created this space, or the entities that has made this space to be feeding on people's fear and doubt and whatever it is, and hope. Maybe they're aware of human history, so they said, we'll play with the human beings to let them wander and ponder for a while. Where did this come from? Why is this here? So we're going to create the illusion that we've been here for a long time. So when we appear as monsters, we're going to be wearing old-timey clothes, 50s clothes made in the 50s and 60s and 40s and whatever, and back in the day, Native American, whatever era you want to pick. We're just going to use that facade to keep them guessing. So that's going to keep them pondering for a while. But when we see that they're getting a little too close, we shake things up a little bit. It's boring, dude. This thing feels like it's a collective effort of different spirits, bad spirits and bad jinns and evils. It's like, what do you want, dude? What's this in between limbo before someone gets to hell? Is this the passageway that Lucifer takes from hell to earth to tempt people and back again, or what? Because Lucifer surely must operate like Pennywise. Doesn't need to leave the hell domain. For those of you who believe in the Bible, what is this force? What is this? And you can't tell me this thing is outside of the Creator. So surely this thing must already exist in religious context or in ancient context before religion. You can't tell me this entity is outside of the Maker, because nothing is supreme beyond the Maker. Or is this a dark side of God worse than Satan? Before there was Satan, there was this location, so dark that God itself or himself or herself threw it away into a land called From. What are you, man? What the fuck are you even doing? Just because. Why not? Why not? That's not how you tell a story. It becomes boring and sour after a while. At least there's 2 layers to Pennywise's story. He got banished here or sent here or trapped here. Whilst he's trapped here, he's like, I'm gonna make the best that I can of this place. And even within that, there are rules that were already applied by the people who encountered him and weren't afraid. You could even say there's an allegory of the story, or one of the allegories behind the story is, no matter how powerful evil is or wickedness is, or how powerful bad spirits are, love can still win always. Because the way those I can't remember their names. Oh, I've forgotten their names already. The way the for lack of a better term, Native Americans trapped Pennywise in Derry with the shard that it came through. Even that alone, you got imprisoned here, and then the cage shattered, and the people who encountered you figured out quick that the thing you came in here inside or with is also, like Superman and Krypton, is also your weakness, and we need to use this thing against you. So as powerful as Pennywise is, it's still capable of being suppressed and oppressed or caged to an extent. So we know its strengths and its weaknesses and semi limitations. So that allows us to say there's leeway. You can still fight back, you can still do something against this thing. With this show, look, another new look, and that's all. So just flashy. It's just news. It's just stacking with more dumb shit upon more dumb shit. First of all, with cicadas, it's going to be worms. After worms is butterflies. After butterflies, it's going to be eyelashes. Everyone's going to lose their eyelashes. After that, everyone's going to lose their eyebrows. What else can you do? It's like they're just finding out new ways to just torture these people because it's fun. They eat them and they never seem to wipe them out, in one go. That lets me know you need these people. You need these people. If it was just for fun and you're like, I don't really care what happens, I'm gonna wipe them all out in one go. So each time, let's say for the first time, 50 people got stuck here. So the entity or the entities that run this show, they will feed off 30 people and leave 20 to survive. Once I see you do that, that lets me know you're waiting for the next cycle. And that means you might have an energy or another connection with something else outside of this town that finds a way to nudge people on the path that leads them to this looping town. You're actively doing something to make sure you get people in here to trap them. 1 and 2, you need these people because you never seem to wipe out everyone that comes to this location in one fell swoop. You could also argue you want them to hope, you need them to hope and have faith in, or have faith, have faith in. You want them to scurry around and look like, make it look like, give them this idea of you can make it. You know, dangle the carrot on the stick in front of them and then pull the rug from underneath them, and then it's so, nah. Unnecessary flashes for what? New dumb shit, basically. There we go. So this road, it's like, who's in charge of this road? How come there's no traffic lights? There's no, I mean, you could say it's a highway or whatever. Not highway, it's a what do you call this thing? It's in the countryside, so tech hasn't really reached this far yet. Yo, this shit gets boring after a while.
Boyd, there are a lot of people wanting to know what happened down there.
That's one part of got me wanting to know what happened down there. Why? Now they've been knowing a lot of things, but the knowing does nothing. The knowing just lets me know, oh wait, this is not like cycle 1. This is like cycle 9,999 or cycle 1 million. For all we care, this bubble location has been in existence since man. Maybe this thing was being used to destroy animals in the first place, but even that can get boring after a while, so we need to put human beings. Have aliens ever been stuck in this place before? What? Have any other creatures from outer space ever come here by mistake and been stuck here in this loop before? Have other monsters come in here and been stuck here? Would Frankenstein get stuck here? Would Jason get stuck in here? Would the guy from Halloween get stuck in here? Would Freddy Krueger get stuck in here as well? So what is your limit, man? What's your criteria? And even that, I don't even think I want to know the rules, because this guy's, the fact that we don't know the rules is a reflection of the writers. Like, yeah, we'll just do anything we want to do with no necessary head or tail to it. But for people like myself, I can't sit down and call that a good show. Season 1 was dope. Season 1 was dope, but if you don't have an intention to make some sense of what's going on, then I can't trust you as a whole showrunner. For the whole show, 4 seasons, and you haven't even answered major questions. You can say you've answered one question and introduce a new one. Yeah, but okay, that's a typical trope. Where are you headed with this? Where are you going with this, and why? At least with Pennywise, we know the exact reason. I'm more even fascinated about the world that Pennywise comes from, that he got banished from. Because to be banished here onto Earth, it lets me know this thing that sent you here, or things that sent you here, know about the Earth. And I think to myself, is that a cruel thing to do? Because we have no weapons and no magic wands to send you back to your realm. So whoever sent you here was a cruel thing for them to do unto us, because we don't have the same gifts and abilities and powers as you do. But when I watch the show, continuously, which each episode revealing new things, I'm like, hold on a minute. The Native Americans, for lack of a better term, managed to cage this thing in the circumference. So that means, from what I'm taking from it, doesn't mean that the entity who sent you here did it to punish us, or to make us suffer. But it must be aware that by you, Pennywise, being a 5th dimensional entity, coming down here, that's like a two-layer downgrade.
What do you mean by that?
And despite how powerful you are, you're also limited because of the level or the frequency at which the 3rd dimension is operating as. And for you to be sent here, when I rejig the whole thing, that means one could argue that the thing or things that sent you here are also afraid of this dimension. So it's not necessarily that they're doing to be spiteful against the species that inhabit here, human beings and animals and whatnot. But it's not for them. It's for you. this is a banishment and a punishment. So the impact is on Pennywise, because it didn't take long for the Native Americans to fashion those tools to lock him up.
That's right.
The entity that sent it here, or it to Earth, does it have the ability of foresight? Did it sit down and do the Doctor Strange thing and say, you know what, that's the appropriate dimension to send this dude. That's the appropriate planet in this dimension. That's the appropriate solar system to send this guy to. Like, does it have the ability of foresight to say, oh, there's going to be a group of people who are going to trap him and eventually end his reign? So that means, I could be wrong, but I'm assuming they can't kill then. The realm that the Pennywise comes from, that he was banished from, can't kill. So it's like maybe it's like pure energy versus pure energy. Unstoppable force beats an immovable object. So since we can't kill each other, we just banish you to a lesser dimension where your power is not going to be as primal as it is in our familiar space.
That boy is good.
Where's Dad? Why isn't he back yet?
Tabitha.
We need to talk.
Everyone needs to talk. Always need to talk. Need to talk. Knowledge comes at a cost. You see? So someone painted this shit. The human beings, or the monsters at night. Do you know what it looks like for a monster to just... You painted that at night or daytime? So you took time out of your regular eating human being schedule to paint that on the wall. I hope a human being did that, because if that's not the case, then golly, that looks disgusting. That looks disgusting for one of the creatures who eats these guys at nighttime or daytime to come and paint this shit up. This better be one of the human beings, man. It better be, because it doesn't make sense.
You ain't lying.
It means everything they showed us. It's real. I think they're doing it to make us afraid.
Well, duh.
I'm hoping that he means the human beings. But even that, if human beings are trying to make you afraid, what can a human being do in this space that the creatures haven't done or aren't capable of? There's nothing you can do as a human being that the space that they're in won't conjure up 10 times worse things than that thing. Because at first I thought, okay, he's saying that line based on the entities that govern this place. Do they take shifts? Do they take turns? I despise this show, man.
Damn.
This one was epic, but again, the questions I was asking is, where are you going with this show? Because it has to have an end, or one could argue it doesn't have to have an end. But once I clocked that, I'm like, I'm not your target audience. I'm not, because that means you yourself don't know where you're going with this. You're just here for the ride. I'm okay with that. I'm not your target audience. We outie. Bye bye. Because I thought that line was, he was saying that based on the entities are just trying to make them scared. I'm like, of course. This thing looks like it feeds off two simple things. Maybe three. You could argue it's three, but I would say it's two. It's fear and hope. Or maybe it's three then. Maybe it's fear, hope, and love.
Let me explain.
I'm surprised they haven't dealt with an episode where a number of people have decided this is too much for them to maintain or to manage. With all the randomness going on, they're just going to self-terminate.
Willingly?
Yes.
That's more realistic to me than what's going on. Because the food that they're eating, they didn't bring it there. To even plant seed there, and that a seed is growing and fruit is coming from this the tree, the seed that's been planted, that to me is scary. Because you're saying these things show up at night and they feed on people. They need permission. They can't. Do they need permission? You can't open the door if you have a talisman. We don't know who or what made the talisman. We don't even know if everything we're watching is literally their construct. And like I said earlier on, it's something they've made to allow people to sit there and be pondering, where is this from? Who made this? Why is it working? Why doesn't this work? Why does that work? Why a talisman? Why not even paint, just to paint your door? For all we care, everything, including the talisman, was made by these entities just to fuck with these people.
Woo! You don't understand.
You are in a place that you can't escape. You didn't plant the food per se. There are trees already there. You can breathe. There's water. There's electricity that you don't get to pay rent or bills. I'm surprised they don't even aging backwards or aging slow. So it feels like it's a weird farm. We're just going to bring livestock here, We're gonna screw around with them for a while. Then we're gonna release little trinkets, gifts, and here and there called talisman, and give them allow them to rest for a little bit to build up their hope and resilience. And then because they're human beings and they're so far removed from their greatness, they're going to create structures, and they're going to create curfew. Oh, we're going to have this guy with a bell. Okay, time to go back into your house and lock the doors, put a talisman against the door, and you know, cover your ears when you sleep at night, and don't let them come in. And it's this whole, you know, maybe it's exploiting human weakness, the ability to observe where they are in. Like the trees I'm looking at right now, they didn't plant this. Wherever this is, let's just say this was fashioned and created like this for a purpose. And this place has been in its bubble for eons, for millions of years, since the creation of man. And then once we say that, or once I say that, why?
Don't ask questions.
What kind of Allah, Yahweh, Jehovah, God does this? And if someone says, oh, it's a bad entity, Satan, who made the motherfucking bad entity of Satan? Not God?
Message.
Because it gets boring after a while. Once you push it to that level, after a while, you're like, okay, so God chose to do this for what? Is this a precursor to hell? It's pointless. There isn't enough room to have more fun anymore compared to Gravity Falls or Pennywise, the clown. There's no more fun. But once you tell me this clown thing was banished from a different reality and realm into this one, oh, I'm ready. Like,
wait a minute.
How many other planets and entities has this creature encountered?
That's a good question.
And it just keeps feeding. It doesn't have a cycle. Even in its own dimension, does it sleep? Does it rest? Does it play basketball, football? Do they have games?